Bill Hicks, it's great to see you. Welcome to the Comedy Hour.
Thank you, Len.
I've been listening to your new album all week and enjoying it. It's really cutting-edge stuff.
Beautiful, man. I wish people would buy it all week.
You know, I'm wondering, you're doing gutsy, cutting-edge material all over the country about sex, drugs, rock and roll, politics, and religion. Are you ever getting confrontive reactions from audience members who don't agree with what you say?
Usually they leave before they can confront me. But to be honest, like we were talking earlier, people are very open to anybody who speaks very rationally. You know, I don't deal in slogans or in superstitions.
Mm-hmm.
So people open up and they come up to me and they go, "Thanks for saying that," because we don't hear that said. You know.
So you're getting more positive reaction than negative.
Absolutely.
That's very interesting.
Absolutely.
Because your stuff is so cutting edge, I would think it would rile some people.
You know, there's always that handful, but, you know, they would be riled by anybody. They put me on a par with doing dirty jokes, you know.
Mm-hmm.
The mind is shut when they walk in, so I can't help those people.
How do you create material?
Well, you know, I absorb a lot of it through reading the paper and watching the news, and then I go on stage, and it's just something strikes me. You know, something just strikes my sense of irrationality.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and out it comes.
So you create it right on stage. You don't sit down and write lines.
No, I do it on stage generally.
Well, it takes a lot of guts.
It takes. Well, what it does, I've always done it that way, and all it takes is like the premise, and then the audience is going, "Yeah," and you go, "Ah!" So,
right.
You know, it's kind of like, it makes it new for me every night, too, because I've been doing this, 10 years, and, you know, it's not a script, so, and I couldn't do a script over and over again.
You know, that's remarkable to me. You've been doing it for 10 years. As I understand, your first set was when you were 13 years old.
Right. Well, you know, I've been doing it 10 years since, professionally, but that was when I was 18, so, yeah, I first went on when I was 13 at a church talent show. And they were just as surprised as I was, and as frightened.
What was the content of your 13-year-old set?
When I started, Woody Allen was my big influence, so I did a mixture of his, and I also wrote jokes a la Woody Allen. You know, I had a rough childhood, but which was ludicrous, because here I am, this wasp, upper-middle-class kid. Yeah, I had a rough childhood. But I remember one of the jokes I did of his was, you know, I was breastfed from falsies, and the audience went, "Huh? Ooh, he said breast." So even then, you know, the seed was planted.
Where was this?
Oh, this was at a church camp in some small Texas town.
That's where you're from originally, Texas?
That's where I grew up, in Houston. I lived in Jersey before that. I've lived all over.
Mm-hmm. So, I'm sorry, keep telling us about your 13-year-old set. So you said breast in front of this very straight group, and they were shocked. And
right, because, you know, in a Baptist, you know, we were raised with a very healthy self-hatred of our bodies, which continues to this day. But so even then, I was like controversial, I guess. Mm-hmm. That planted the seed.
That was the beginning of your controversial career.
Right.
Now, this is say you've been doing it professionally for 10 years. Now, you began in 1979 in was it Houston-based Outlaws of Comedy. Right. Led by Sam Kinison. I'm very curious. Right. I've heard a lot about the Outlaws of Comedy from Houston. I'm not completely familiar with them. Tell us about that.
Okay, well, Sam was there, I was there, and there was two other fellows. See, what happened was Sam's always been controversial, you know, and the people at the club that we worked at found him to be too dangerous. Even though crowds, he was the most popular guy. Mm-hmm. I mean, crowds would call up, "When is that little fat guy going on?" Yeah. And he used to do, and he didn't do the screaming part then, but he always had that funniness to him, the wildness. And the people at the club couldn't deal with this guy, man. They kept kicking him off the shows, you know, saying, "Well, you can't talk about this on stage, or you can't talk about that." And it's like, well, yeah, I can. Watch. What do you mean I can't? I did it last night, and I'm going to do it tonight. And that was the great attitude, you know, because, I mean, how do you suppress what you can or can't talk about? Excuse me, if it works. Plus, if it dies, it's me dying. It's not your club dying, you know. Mm-hmm. The whole mentality, man, it was just a beautiful little microcosm of a man trying to be free and people trying to suppress him because they're afraid. Right. So finally, they kicked him out forever. They said, "Don't come back to our club." And he went up to the club that night, and the guy that he felt was responsible for that went up and got in a fight with the guy and broke his leg.
Really?
Fractured his leg, yeah.
Wow.
And then we formed, we all said, "We're out of here," you know. and he and I and Carl LeBove and a guy named Robert Barber did a show called the Texas Outlaw Comics, and that started the Outlaw thing. And since then, I was in a group called the Outlaws, and he formed another group called the Outlaws. But that's how that all happened.
When you say a group, you guys toured together, doing different clubs around the country,
right?
Billing yourself as the Outlaws of comedy,
right? And we did a little different than he did. We did theme shows like Outlaw Comics Get Religion, Outlaw Comics Get Political, and we would do whole shows on one theme, which is a unique and wonderful idea and should be done today.
Are they recorded? Or do you have them on cassette or anything?
We have them on video. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I'd love to see
and,
some of that.
They were strong. They were real. And we did something too besides just doing stand-up. We did all our characters or whatever, all under the theme, you know. And it was kind of colorful, and the audience really dug it, man. It wasn't just four stand-ups going up back to back. Well, here's why I hate Reagan.
Right.
I mean, and also the material was very, very, very philosophical based. It wasn't, you know, well, Reagan's neck moves under the helicopter. That's our political stuff. You know, it wasn't that.
Right, it was deeper.
I mean, deeper than that, yeah. And audiences ate it up.
Now, I've been reading about you, and you say that your agenda is more than just making people laugh in comedy clubs. You want to bring what you call religion of self to the audience. What do you mean by religion of self?
Hey, did I say that? Wow. God, that does sound pretty big. I don't know if I can deal with that.
Maybe your PR guy wrote it to make it look good.
Yeah, really, man. I didn't know Joan of Arc had a publicist.
Didn't mean to pin you down.
Well, no, you know, absolutely. I mean, I don't get it. I mean, what, we're all, I mean, I'm gonna get goofy on you, but we're all like, the perfect and holy children of God, and I don't see any, being the perfect and holy children of God, how any limits could possibly be put upon us. Could there? Could there, under that premise?
Not at all.
Not at all. Well, that's the point of my act. You know, I just want to be free of the fears and anxieties of death and superstitions of religion, too, which are another thing. Being raised in a Baptist, you know, with a God, a avenging God, a God who created hell for his children, you know, I'm sorry, but no. Wrong. You're wrong. That's an insane God, and therefore not mine. Because, see, God would be very sane. Don't you get it? That's my act. All right? Everything branches off from that. So it's kind of an odd thing, you know. A lot of comedy clubs for years were not interested in here. But the thing is, I get laughs with it. You know what I mean? So I am doing my job as far as the...
Do you actually state that on stage?
Oh, absolutely. But I do it humorously. You know, I mean, you know, like you heard the album. I mean, the good acid story is one way that I say it. You know, where death is, there's no such thing as death, and we're all one consciousness experiencing itself subjectively. You know, here's Tom with the weather. A good acid story on the news. Great.
Well, I find it very refreshing to talk to a comic whose main concern is consciousness and not filling comedy clubs. And I share a lot of your